Let me just start off by talking a bit about why this is so important. Unfortunately, carbon monoxide is a silent killer. And it's one of those where a lot of people still don't realize they have their fire alarms but don't have carbon monoxide detectors. And so when they're actually having a smoke detector that can actually detect the smoke and give you a signal that there's a fire, and we've made sure that that was mandatory in all of our buildings, but we wanted to make sure that folks also knew that there needed to be a detection system and an alarm and a warning if there was carbon monoxide. The majority of folks who have gas burning appliances in their home, who may use a generator, are all susceptible to potential carbon monoxide poisoning. And it's something where unfortunately we see over and over again, especially around this time, when the winter first hits, people are turning on their heat, they're using generators and gas burning stoves, and those are the reasons why a lot of people need to make sure that they have this protection. Fortunately for us here in Montgomery County, the last time we had a death was over a year ago. The reality is that all of those deaths, every single one of the deaths that have been since 2013 would be preventable if they had a detector in that house to give warning to the families that there was something wrong. And so that's why we wanted to work together. I really appreciate the partnership of our fire department, who's always making sure that we're safe. But then our partners with our Department of Permitting Services, who are also working hard to ensure that the buildings that we have throughout our community, whether they're residential or commercial, are safe for us as well. And then, of course, our Greater Capital Area Association of Realtors partnered with us to make sure that as people buy new homes, that they're ensuring that these are there. And as I'm going through the home buying process right now, I can't tell you how one of the checkoff boxes, it actually warmed my heart to see that was there and identified to make sure that they're there. And so we know as a part of this transactional process, this will continue. I really appreciate the partnership of everybody coming together. And of course, our county executive, who was actually with us when we introduced this bill on the council and a supporter, and who now in his role as the county executive continues to make sure that we're doing everything we can in our county to put forth the best foot forward when it comes to the safety of our residents. And I'd like to turn it over to the county executive at this time.
So I've been tasked with reading some technical stuff. I'll skip the ones you did. So he mentioned that it's a silent killer. It's colorless and odorless gas, and so it's impossible to detect. The symptoms include nausea, headaches, dizziness, weakness, chest pain, and vomiting. And in more severe poisoning cases, people experience disorientation and unconsciousness. And of course, once you go unconscious, you're not getting out. And so it leads to usually a tragic ending. So it's important to install and test CO2 detectors, CO detectors. The alarms are the only way to detect this poisonous gas. There aren't going to be any other signals. And you need to test the alarms monthly and to change the batteries with the seasons. And do not run kitchen vents and exhaust fans anytime you're using a gas stove, because there's a greater risk of emissions from those stoves. And it's the most frequent source of carbon monoxide poisoning in the house. Never use a gas oven to heat your house. That just invites this problem. And never use gas generators indoors for the same reason. It's putting off carbon monoxide, and you're not going to know it's putting it off. And make sure that you have all your fuel-burning appliances tested regularly. And if the CO alarm sounds, immediately leave the house and seek help. Call the fire department. So that's the technical stuff. This is important. Where this came to us on the council, it was like a no-brainer. We recognize that once there's a test available, there's no reason for not having it. Like Craig said, nobody needs to die of this. It is 100% preventable. So the fact that it makes it preventable means we should make sure that everybody has the tools to prevent it. So I want to thank Craig for doing this recognition and remind people that, again, it's the people in the field who do this work. You know, all of us up here, we write this legislation, we get credit for it, but it's carried out by, people in our departments and the fire department. It's realtors who help inform people who have houses that need to take these steps. So it's a big coordinated effort that represents what Montgomery County is doing.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. County Executive. Let's hear from a person who's tasked with ensuring that our folks are safe in our community, our Chief, Scott Goldstein.
Thank you, Councilmember Rice. As we last year celebrated the 40th anniversary of Montgomery County requiring smoke alarms in residential units, this is another example of providing safety, providing first alert to the residents and during periods of time when they're at their most vulnerable. Carbon monoxide, as the county executive said, being the silent killer, is going to impact those while they're sleeping. They get overcome when their detection's low and their sensors are at their weakest, and then they are unable to react. That's why the carbon monoxide alarm at each sleeping area on each level of the residence allows that resident early warning and detection, just as our smoke alarms. We do not see fire fatalities in houses that have smoke alarms. Early detection, people get out, and these carbon monoxide alarms and the impact of having these in places with fuel burning appliances will make a difference and will continue to provide that level of safety that smoke alarms did 40 years ago and continue to help our residents. Thank you.
I wanted to turn it over and see if DPS or GCAR had anything that they wanted to add.
We're just very happy that we were able to participate and help generate a law that will protect people in their houses. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And again, as the county executive said, this is all about a partnership. I will say that one of the things that, again, reflecting and understanding the diversity of our community, our fire department, in conjunction with one of its firefighters, Joanna Fuentes, actually helped to produce the carbon monoxide video in Spanish as well for some of our residents who are Spanish speaking, to make sure that we were very inclusive in terms of ensuring that everyone understood how important this was. And so from that perspective, I think we need to do more of that when we're doing public awareness campaigns and ensure that we're doing them in both English as well as other languages to incorporate parts of our community. And so I'm going to start off, and Mr. Executive, if you will read along with me with this.
Read along with you?
Well, we'll partner in tag teaming. I'll give you your own so we don't have to. Whereas carbon monoxide is an odorless, tasteless, and invisible toxic gas, commonly known as the silent killer, that can be fatal for humans and animals, and typically leaks from faulty fuel-burning appliances such as a fireplace, a dryer, water heater, stove, furnace, your car, or generator, and
whereas an estimated 400 deaths and over 50,000 people are hospitalized each year as a result of carbon monoxide poisoning, many who mistake the initial symptoms for the flu, which includes headaches, dizziness, weakness, shortness of breath, upset stomach, chest pain, and confusion. And
whereas the County Council unanimously passed Bill 2318, requiring many existing single-unit, two-unit, and townhome dwellings to install carbon monoxide alarms outside sleeping areas and on every level of the home, effective as of July of this year, thus expanding the scope of homes required to install the life-saving device. And
whereas this additional protection is a result of cross-agency collaboration and support from organizations such as Montgomery County Fire and Rescue Service, Department of Permitting Services, and housing associations, each of whom committed unique resources in preventing lost lives from carbon monoxide poisoning. Now, therefore, do we, Mark Elrich as County Executive and Craig Rice as County Councilmember of Montgomery County, hereby recognize Carbon Monoxide Awareness Month. We encourage all residents to check the batteries and test their carbon monoxide alarms at least once a year, and if you don't have one, get one.
so thank you very much for this, and we're going to give these to our fire chief, to DPS, and to our Greater Capital Area Association of Realtors. Thank you, guys. All right.